All right. We are live here on the Huddle podcast doing our Madden 26 introduction to our franchise coaching, Metal Mike and the Candyman JH. So go for it, John. We are live.
Welcome, everybody. Metal Mike was kind enough to get us both Madden. So much appreciations on that. Thank you very much. And now we are transitioning to Madden. We will still play NCAA football. Candyman and Metal Mike are not done with our coaching journey here, but now you will see our coaching journey in the NFL. And since you can see the screen right here, Mike, why don't you start us off with your team, how you ended up there, and let's just talk about your roster and in general about your team.
So how I ended up in Pittsburgh is every year that play Madden, we normally do our franchise to where you're in the NFC and I'm in the AFC, or I'm in the NFC and you're in the AFC. And since you actually have a built-in storyline that you're going to talk about, I had to figure how am I going to pick my team, because I really don't have a built-in storyline. The only connection my storyline would have with my coaching in college football is the fact that there's one head coach that came from Penn State that went to the Houston Texans. But I was like, I don't want to go with that. So I'm just going to do the traditional process of elimination that I normally do every year. And that is set up a randomizer wheel that we've been using for the past couple years. And I did my process of elimination, and pretty much what came down to it was the Steelers ended up winning that. Quick recap on how I do it is first round, I have two matchups. For example, if you take the AFC East, I had the Bills against the Dolphins, the Jets against the Patriots, and the first team that got landed on 5 times was eliminated. Second round went to 7 times. Third round, 10 times, which is the semifinals, and then the championship round, whoever got 20 lands first was the loser. That's how we got here with Pittsburgh. So I am going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can already see the dead giveaway of a trade that was done right here on the home screen. Yes, Jaylen Warren was traded. So I'm going to run down real quick all the moves that I made. We'll go with releases first because I did release some players. And let me get down to the Steelers quick. Okay. So I released it free safety Sebastian Castro, tight end Connor Hayward, Mike linebacker Carson Bruner, defensive tackle Logan Lee, edge rusher Kenny Wilkes, wide receiver Kashawn Williams, running back Sion Vikai, and then obviously I took over the head coaching position, so Mike Tomlin was fired. Scott Miller, wide receiver, defensive tackle Azeski Otamiyu, and defensive tackle Broderick Martin. The reason why these players were eliminated or were released is simply they were bottom of the depth chart guys that could have ended up on the practice squad or on the waiver wire. And I was like, instead of trying to just trade them and get draft picks for them, I was like, I'll just release them. I'll bump up my cap space a little bit, which I did earn about $3.5 to $4 million extra in cap space for these guys, which was a nice boost to help with, trade values, picking up free agents, and all that stuff. I didn't have any retired players. I did make one position change. I did sign tight end Noah Gray, who's originally a tight end from the Kansas City Chiefs. He was on the free agent list. I signed him, but I made his position a fullback. And if you're thinking, why turn a tight end to a fullback? Well, because there's plays in the Steelers playbook where the fullback goes out for passes. The guy can block on run plays. And then when he goes out for the passes, I know he's going to catch. So it's almost a guarantee for a fullback out pass, which is going to be helpful. So that's why I picked up Noah Gray off of free agency. As far as guys that I signed free safety Kavon Wallace. to a 1-year, $1.65 million deal. I also signed right guard Kenyon Green. I signed free agent defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, which was a huge pickup because he was the top guy on the free agent list. Top guy. So hopefully he could be a huge factor for my defensive line, because so surprised that he was just sitting there. And I'm taking him. I needed to boost that defensive line a little bit. Obviously picked up Noah Gray. I also signed wide receiver Kadarius Toney, James Burnip off of I believe this was the Packers practice squad. I'll have to recheck that, and then kicker Maddox Trujillo. So yes, I signed a punter and a kicker. Reason why I signed a punter and a kicker is because I traded my punter and kicker. And we'll get into the trades real quick. So I traded. I just made a trade before we went live. I traded away a 5th and a 6th round draft pick for wide receiver Xavier Gibson. I also made a trade. I sent a 2028 3rd round pick, 2027 3rd round pick, and running back Jalen Warren, who you've seen on the front screen, to the Carolina Panthers for running back Rico Dowdle. I traded a 2028 1st round, 2028 2nd round, 2027 2nd round, 2026 2nd round to the Kansas City Chiefs for wide receiver Xavier Worthy. I traded a 2027 4th, 2026 4th, and a 2026 two 2026 4ths, a 2027 4th, a 2026 3rd, a second 2026 3rd to the Buccaneers for edge rusher Yaya Diaby. And then I traded 2027 or 2026 7th round pick to the Jets for punter Corliss Waitman. I traded a 2026 5th round pick, I traded Corliss Waitman to the Jets for a 2026 7th round pick. And then I traded Chris Boswell and a 7th round pick 2026 to the Giants for a 5th round pick. I traded Jabril Peppers to the Texans for a 7th round pick. I traded tight end Jonnu Smith and a 7th round pick to the Chiefs for a 4th round pick. I traded Marquez Valdez-Scantling to the Dolphins for a 3rd round pick. I traded wide receiver Adam Thielen to the Browns for a 4th round pick. I traded quarterback Mason Rudolph to the Falcons for a 6th round pick. I traded edge rusher Nick Herbig to the Lions for a 4th round pick, and also sent them Sion Vaikai. So yeah, those were all the trades that I made. I think that's it. Oh, my signings real quick. I got to do my signings real quick. Oh, no, I did my signings. Never mind. Yeah, I did do my signings. Yeah. So some changes made, not too many big ones. Like I did make the trade for Xavier Worthy. As we know, the top wide receiver out in Kansas City is Rashid Rice. And then my trade for Rico Dowdle, for Jalen Warren to the Panthers for Rico Dowdle. These guys are pretty evenly matched up when it comes to overalls, but Rico Dowdle has a little bit more speed. And he also has a little more change of direction. So some of his overalls are actually a little better than Jalen Warren's. I did think about doing trading for Chuba Hubbard, but I didn't want to make too many crazy big trades because I do want to build this team. I don't want to just have a superstar team from the jump and just go win. I don't want to be boring basically and just go and have superstar teams that can go and win Super Bowls. I don't want to do that. I want to build a team. I want to build a franchise. And, I'm doing that on the back of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers did stick around. He is going to be my starting quarterback for the year. That leaves me a year to decide whether I'm going to start Will Howard in our 2026 season, or if I'm going to draft a quarterback, or if I'm going to make a move in free agency. But Aaron Rodgers is going to be my guy for this season, and I want to see if I can try and get this guy another MVP. That's what I'm aiming to do, is try and get this guy another MVP, and maybe, since there's a possibility he may never do it in real life again, put another ring on this guy's finger as well, digitally at least. So that's my Steelers. There it is.
Oh, perfect, man. Thank you, Mike. So now we'll jump over to Candyman. Now, Candyman spent 5 years at West Virginia. And during those 5 years, he made 4 Big 12 conference championship games. Now, the Big 12 conference championship game is played at AT&T Stadium, home of the Cowboys. While he was there, he formed an unexpected friendship with Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, to the point where during the offseason, Jones would invite him over to watch, to the stadium, to hang out in the press in the upper boxes to watch Cowboys games. They formed an unlikely friendship. When Candyman's time to leave college football behind him and pursue his dream of coaching in the pros, Jerry Jones called him and said, "Hey, why don't you come to Dallas? You know the stadium. You're familiar with it. We're friends." But Candyman had one request, and that was he had full control of the team. Meaning Jerry Jones would have to kind of step aside from being owner GM. It took some convincing, but he was able to convince his friend to allow it. So Candyman is now the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, playing in a stadium where he already had success in West Virginia, 4 straight Big 12 conference championships. Jerry is entrusting the future of his Cowboys to Candyman. It's a big weight restoring America's team, but it's a weight Candyman will hold on his shoulders. Actually, Mike, I'm going to do a little something different. If you want to go to my roster. Perfect. So here are Candyman's Dallas Cowboys. And as you can see, Shador Sanders. What? He's a Cowboy. Yes. Because while he was at Candyman, West Virginia, he got to know Coach Prime. And he knew Coach Prime wanted Shador to be a Cowboy. That was one of the teams he wanted Shador to go to. So he called up Coach Prime and said, "Hey, I'm about to make this trade. I have my eye on your boy, your son, to be my quarterback. What do you think?" And he said, "Go for it." He gave his approval. So Dak Prescott got sent over to the Cleveland Browns for Shador Sanders and 3 first-round draft picks. And that is how Shador Sanders became a Cowboy. Under him, Joe Milton, backup quarterback, another player that Candyman really liked when he was in Tennessee. Joe Milton, not Candyman, when he was a starting quarterback. So Candyman is rolling with 2 quarterbacks. At running back, Candyman traded Javonte Williams for Tony Pollard. He is bringing Tony Pollard back because, to be honest with you, I've always liked Tony Pollard and I wanted him back on my team. I feel like he's a very underrated running back. Miles Sanders is under him, but Miles Sanders is injured and he will not be a Cowboy when he comes back because I'm not a Miles Sanders fan at all. So backing up Tony Pollard is Texas rookie Jaden Blue. So I'm curious to see what that 1-2 punch is going to be with Pollard and Blue. Now we're going to head over to the wide receivers. And CeeDee Lamb is there. I was no way giving up CeeDee Lamb. But under him is George Pickens. He's gone. You see, I needed draft pick capital because going into this year, Dallas had 3 draft picks, 1 first-round pick, 1 fourth-round pick, and 1 fifth-round pick. And I said, no, that's not going to work. So I traded George Pickens in a trade, I believe, to the Panthers and brought in Xavier Legette and some draft picks. So Xavier Legette, underused, underappreciated in Carolina, is now going to be my number 2 receiver. So, and my number 3 receiver is going to be Jalen Tolbert, with my slot receiver being Kavonte Turpin. He's got that 97 speed, 94 acceleration, and 92 agility. I'm expecting some good things out of the slot with Turpin. Tight end, I didn't touch. I didn't touch anything with the offensive line. Let's see. I didn't touch anything with the left edge or the right edge. My moves were mainly offense. I didn't touch anything with defensive tackle or Sam linebacker or Mike linebacker. So that's all Dallas there.
I think you were mainly offense. Yeah.
Yeah. I did add, because I liked him when he was at West Virginia, I did add free agent will linebacker Kaiser White. I think he's going to add excellent depth. He's his 7th year in his career. So if anything happens to Overshone, I can just plug Kaiser White there. But yeah, I mainly focused on the offense just to build it how I want it. I do want to go over my draft picks real quick. I know Mike ran them down real quick. But like I said, going into this year, I only had a first-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and a fifth-round pick. Now going into the draft, I have 2 first-round picks, one from Cleveland in the Dak trade and my own. I have a second-round pick, a third-round pick, and a fourth-round pick from Carolina in that Xavier Worthy trade. And I also have, oh no, that's it. And then next year I have some good draft stock. I have, oh yeah, they already had Green Bay's pick. I don't think I made that trade. So they have 2 first-round picks. Actually, I think I did swapped out first-round picks with Green Bay.
No, that's part of the Micah Parsons trade from real life.
Oh yeah. You're right. I forgot about that. You're right. Yeah. I have 2 first-round picks and then one of each except the second. 2028, 2 first-round picks because I had 3 first-round picks from Cleveland, and then everything. So I set up Dallas's draft stock to be able to build a future team, and I already have plans for this Cleveland pick. So I want to see if it turns out well, and that is it. Oh, I forgot. I do have one more player. If you can go to free safety. I scoured the free agents because not only did I want Shedeur Sanders, I found Shiloh Sanders on Denver's practice squad, and I signed him. So he's reunited with his brother. They're both Cowboys. That Sanders legacy in Dallas can continue. I have Shiloh as my backup right now because I want to develop him into a starter. I feel at 63 he's not ready to be a starter yet, overall 63. But that's it for Candyman's My Dallas Cowboys.
I'm going to run down my draft picks real quick. I forgot to do that.
Okay, go for it.
Make sure I didn't miss any players. So, yeah, no quarterback change. Rico Dowdle came in. No Gray. Darius Tony Gibson, I just traded for. Oh, I did pick up. Oh, no, I didn't. Never mind. Thought I picked up a tight end. Yeah, Diaby, Cam Hayward, Christian Wilkins. All right. So my draft picks. My first round pick, I never touched from 2026. Along with the third round pick, that was a real life trade for Dallas that I kept. The 2026 is the Cleveland pick for sending them Adam Thielen. Fourth round pick is original. The Giants 2026 pick was the send over of I forget who I sent over to the Giants. The Atlanta and Tennessee were also trades that I made as well that were mixed in there. And then my 2027, I mean, I had a second, third, fourth, but those picks all got traded away. So as of right now in 2027, I have a first, fifth, sixth, and seventh. That'll all change. And then 2028, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's all going to change as the years go on. I have plans of building this team up. Just like you, I have plans of building this team up as well, specifically through the draft and through free agency as normal. But yeah, so
what I like about our moves is we didn't like steal any superstars from teams. Like,
yeah,
you know, you as an Eagle fan, Saquon Barkley is still an Eagle. Me as a 49er fan, George Kittle is still a 49er. McCaffrey's still a 49er. We took players that might be, with the exception of Dak Prescott, because let's be honest, I'm not a fan of Dak, so I wanted him out. So I went with the rookie quarterback, and I'm expecting my salary cap to be terrible, which is going to be part of the challenge of this rebuild for me because of that trade. You know, so we kept core players together to keep this competitive. And that's what I like, because I didn't want to build a superstar team, and you didn't want to build like an all-star team either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the top here, so the 2025 cap is at $279 million per team. Every team has $275 million. As you see, I'm changing teams. That 2025 cap doesn't change because every team starts with $275 million. So that's a good focus. I had $6.83 million of rollover from 2024, which adjusted my cap to $286 million. I have $16.9 million in cap space left after all the moves that I made. My 2025 salary was $253 million with $16.4 million in cap penalties. So basically accruing all the players that I have right now, if I were to make big trades or trade away a guy with a high contract, I could be facing a $16.4 million cap penalty, which would be bad because I'm at 16.9 in cap space right now. So that'd be a terrible, terrible thing to do. And then total spending and
feeling that because I have a 71.6 million cap.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch
tax trade.
I'm gonna switch over to yours. We're gonna show yours as well.
Cool.
2025 total spending of $269 million. That's on all the contracts that the Steelers have spent even before I touched this team. And then $12.5 million rookie reserve cap space. So, for example, when the draft comes around, I have over $12 million that I can spend on rookies, which is nice because the general rookie contract is between 4 million and 12 million. So I have 12.5 million, which is going to be nice. Now we look at the Cowboys. Again, 279 million in caps, 279 million in 2025 cap. Everybody has that. You had 18.8 rollover with 298 to adjust to the 279 with the rollover, and you have $33.6 million left in cap space, which is nice. You're in a bad position when it comes to your cap penalties, because if you were to make any big moves, you could be facing up to a $71 million cap penalty.
Yeah, I'm not looking to make any more big moves. So,
well, you make any big moves and you put yourself in that cap penalty, you're looking at being in the negative
Yep.
$40 million, which would hit you hard and put you in a very bad position for the next couple of years. $264 million in total spending. So that's how much you spent in 2025. And then you have reserve of $24.2 million in rookie reserve. So you're in a very, very good position when it comes to rookies in 2026. So you're in a really good position to build this team and build the Cowboys up. Much better than I'm in, but that stuff changes in due time. If you make moves throughout the season, you know, the trade deadline comes up and you think, oh, a guy's not doing in a good position and you got to trade him or you want to release him because he's just not living up to the potential. You know, it's all different things. So that's going to change throughout the year if moves are made, decisions are made, trades, releases, etc. So, but so
your Steelers are actually rated higher than my Cowboys. I'm 81 across the board, overall offense and defense. So I'm looking at your overall rating. So you actually are in a better spot than I am right now, overall and on defense.
Well, that Christian Wilkins pickup was actually huge for me because my defense was at an 84. But picking up Christian Wilkins was huge because he's an 83 overall. He was the best player on free agency. He was. And yeah, I needed another defensive tackle. Like all my defense, you go into my defensive tackles, this is rough. You look at this. So I had Cam Hayward, and just pretend Christian Wilkins isn't there. Cam Hayward, Derek Harmon, but then I have Keanu Benton, who's injured. I have Daniel Akula, who's injured. Dean Lowry, who's injured. Yaya Black, and then Isaiah Loudermilk, who's injured. So my defense tackles were Yaya Black, Derek Harmon, and Cam Hayward. Those are my defense tackles. So I had to sign. I needed to pick up another defensive tackle. He's the best one on the board. So why wouldn't I? Why would I not spend the money, the $8 million that I spent on him? You know, I had the money. Because you look at, where is it? There it is. You look at this. I mean, most of these guys are backups and stuff like that, but 1 to 3 weeks, week to week, 38 to 44 weeks. A lot of injuries. A lot of injuries and a lot of guys.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. I mean, yours is no better. Yours is no better. I mean, so these are all guys that are just sitting there.
My guys are just depth guys, though. They're not really starters.
But a running back, rookie running back, waiting for him to come off this injured list. He has no injury. He's on the injured list, so you're waiting for him to come off. But Miles Sanders, Trevor Keegan, Robert Jones, Johnny Cornelius, Peyton Turner, Jack Sambor, Josh Butler, Trevon Diggs, week to week. Juanye Thomas, who's week to week. So yours is no better.
Yeah.
A lot of teams is all these injured lists.
So do you want to go over your schedule?
I mean, we can. I mean, it's the regular existing.
We could skip that if you want. It's up to you.
I mean, it's the regular existing schedule that's going on right now in real life. I mean,
okay. So
we can always go.
We could just
do the schedule. We could just do the schedule overview when we're done with this year, when we do our recap.
So let's just go over then. Let's just say what our expectations are for the team then. before that, then close it out.
Okay. I do want to say one thing first before I get into that.
Okay.
So my thoughts on the game overall, because we have obviously played this game before we started doing this. I'm going to say this. This is arguably the best Madden that's been made in years.
I 100% agree. I couldn't get into last year's game at all. You tried to get me into it, but it just felt like every other Madden to me. This one, get a halftime show with highlights. You get a weekly show, recap show with highlights. This is like what I've been waiting for in Madden. I completely agree with you.
I think the last time Madden really had a good aura to it was 2019, 2020. When they changed engines, when they started putting a little more thought into the on-field gameplay. And what I mean is changing of direction, the way players moved. When you challenge plays, they did focus more on the play of challenge than just a random, ball spot or anything like that. But when you look at past games, one big thing is weather effect. Snow games. You can hardly see your wide receivers at times. And when it snows hard and you're watching a football game on TV and it's snowing hard, or you're at a game, it's hard to see. It is, if it's snowing very hard. The realism. If it's downpouring, like torrential downpours, it's tough to see players sometimes. The players slipping all over the place when it's snowing, raining, the change of direction when you don't want the change of direction because of the weather, the effect that the weather gives. They really, I think what motivated them to put this much thought into this game was the success of college football 25.
I agree 100%.
And nothing against college football 26. Love college football 26. But I think 25 had a slight edge on 26. I do. I think 25 had a slight edge on 26. 26 is a fun game. It is. I'm having a lot of fun playing it. But 25, I feel like, had that little bit of specialty to it because, number one, it's the first game we got in 10 years in college. So they put thought into it. They put the effort into making that game great because they knew if it didn't succeed, nobody's coming back in 26. People are going to come back in 27 for college football. That's a given. Why? Because it's college. You have more options for teams. You have almost 60 teams to choose from. You can do
more
so
than
many.
that. It's like 125, I think, 100 or 130, 123.
But that's what I mean. More than 60. I mean, the NFL's 32 teams. That's why I say more than 60. Taking half.
Yeah, I get what
you have
saying.
all those teams to choose from on all different levels with 12 different conferences to play in, and more of a challenge that if you take a team from the Big 12 or the Pac-12 or the Sun Belt or the American or Conference USA, you want to try and get them to the level of national championshipism. You don't have to play in the SEC, the Big 10, the ACC, and have the easier path of getting to the national championship. You also are forced to win games. There's more of a challenge. You want to get to a conference title game, you need to win your conference games. You want to get to the college football playoff, you need to win your conference games, you need to win your conference, and you need to hope not to even lose in the season, because one loss, it's slip up. But when you play Madden, you can lose 7 games and still make the playoffs. You can lose 8 games, and if there's another team in your division that's up there with you at the top of the division, you can win your division. I'm gonna give a little bit of an example. I'm testing out Superstar mode right now. I'm going to be giving content in Superstar mode. I'm going to start creating that sometime this week. But I'm doing the My Player right now, and in my first year as a rookie, I took over after the team was 3-6, or 2-6, or 2-6, or 3-6. Okay, became the starter. Lost my debut to Green Bay in a snow game, 15-10. Since then, went 6-2, finished 9-8 on the year, And the Eagles finished 9-8 as well, and I outbeat them for the NFC East, made the playoffs. So even at 9-8, you can make the playoffs, win your division, way things fall, you can do all that stuff. But in college, you have that more of a challenge because you lose one game, that could be your season. That's why I think college football has that success rate, because of the challenges, because of what you can do. And in Madden, the NFL, it's so much easier to make the playoffs, so much easier to win your division. You know, there's easier paths, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying there's an easier path. So they really had to put the thought into this game. They needed to make this game great, because if they didn't, there was a chance that this game was going to fall off, and we may never get another Madden.
I doubt that'll ever happen.
Well, I mean, we don't have to talk
popular.
We don't have to talk about it, but because of everything with EA and everything, and all the changes the NFL is making, you never know. It can go away just like that. It could. And this is one of the highest rated Maddens in nearly 10 years. So they made this game great in all different levels. Your superstar mode, in your franchise mode, and even online play. Everything's better. And this is arguably the best Madden in years. And the how fun and exciting they've made this game, how challenging, even on different levels of difficulty, this game is. They made it awesome. And the effort they put in. Is there still some changes that people are arguing about and people are complaining about that they want to be made and see? Yeah, there's always going to be, because it's a video game. They can't give us everything we want. They can't. One day they'll be able to, but right now they can't. You know, and I talked about this with you, and you don't like the idea, and that's fine. This is my own personal preference with this screen right here, the news screen. I said to you, how fun would it be? Because I was having a big game in my superstar mode with Malik Neighbors. And I mentioned to you, I said, how fun would it be if they took this news screen and half of it, cut down the middle. One side is the news. You see all the news reports, like Brock Heward said, defensive tackle Christian Wilkins has agreed to terms with the Steelers for 1-year deal per sources. Okay, that stays there. But on the other half, you take all these reporters that you see on the right side of the screen and have them in a fun little fantasy competition and see how they're doing. Something like that. Now, I know people wouldn't like it. Some people wouldn't like it. Some people would like it. Some people would just be like, about it, because this screen is kind of irrelevant. Nobody pays attention to this screen. Nobody. So why not add something that could be a little interesting? Other than that, it's still not a complaint. It's just a thought. They're never going to be able to give us everything we want, but this is a great game. And I am so excited to get into this and so excited to start this dynasty.
Same here.
So that's all I got to say.
All right, man. What are your expectations for your Pittsburgh Steelers?
So, I mean, the expectations are always to go out and win Super Bowls, right? But that's always going to be an expectation, is to go out and win the Super Bowl. Just like in college football, the expectation is to go win a national championship. My expectations for Pittsburgh, though, I have some small expectations other than winning Super Bowls. For example, this is going to probably be Aaron Rodgers' last year. One of my focuses is going to try and get him another MVP. I'm going to be focused on trying to get Aaron Rodgers another MVP trophy. I'm going to try and win rewards for a lot of my guys that may only be on the team for a year, that may be gone in 2026, and try and boost their stock. But hopefully I can boost them enough to where I keep them and they keep playing for me so they don't want to leave, because we know players can make the decision of not signing with us. And just win, the simple things: win the division, make the playoffs, win the Super Bowl. That's that. If it happens in year one, if it doesn't happen in year one, that's fine. We got 15 years to go out and win Super Bowls and division championships. My focus is just to get this team to stability and get this team to the winning ways that it should be in, and hopefully keep my job in the process. So that's focus for year one.
Awesome. Yeah, man. My focus is for the Cowboys is real simple. Win the games that I'm supposed to win the East, win the Super Bowl. I had a lot of success in college football, and I'm looking to transfer that over. I feel like I made the moves that I needed to make year one, and I expect nothing else but at least a playoff berth and a division title. So those are my expectations for this year. I'm going to feel out my team at first, but I feel like I said I made all the moves I need to make. I feel like this is a complete team despite the rating. I have the players I want there. Now it's time to just show it on the field. So I'm expecting at least a playoff berth for the Cowboys.
All right.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Okay, well, then, as always, thank you all for joining us, whether it's on Twitch, the Huddle Hub podcast Twitch, or the YouTube channel, or Candyman JH Twitch and YouTube channel. All links will be in the description. So if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to click that notification bell so you get all the content you see when it drops. And please head on over to our Twitches and follow. It would help both of our channels out. The Candyman JH, the Huddle Hub podcast. It would be greatly appreciated. All right, that's it, my friend. Now we can officially start.
All right. Well, this was the introduction to Madden 26. All right, this was the introduction to Madden 26, the 2025 season. We'll be back with the season end for Madden 26 once we finish year one. That's in conclusion of this season, but also, as you know, we do our lives for college football as well. So we'll also be doing our lives for college football. As far as the show, we are live every Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Huddle Hub podcast itself. I will be live tomorrow morning. Cam is going to be off for the month of December, so you'll see me in the month of December on Sunday mornings, and then I'll be with John on Tuesday nights. Selection Sunday is tomorrow from 12 to 3. So me and John will have all of the news and breakdowns and everything for you guys on Tuesday night from Selection Sunday. I know we talked about possibly going live during Selection Sunday, but I think it'd be best that we just, save it for Tuesday, have all of our information and try and gather everything together. And that way we could just have full-on discussion about everything from Selection Tuesday, opposed to trying to follow along live as things are happening. But I don't know. We could discuss that off air, whether we'll be live tomorrow afternoon or not for it. But I will be live tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with all the news from the NFL, milestones and records to keep an eye on for this week, and the schedule for the NFL through Sunday and Monday night. And we'll be recapping conference championship weekend as it is occurring right now. I believe we're wrapping up Texas Tech and BYU. I didn't see the score to that, but
yeah, Texas Tech is crushing them. BYU looked great from the gate, went up 7-0, but it's been all Texas Tech since I had the game on. And I'll tell you what, you know who's happy about this?
Me, because I'm winning.
No, not you. If Texas Tech wins, Notre Dame is most likely to make the playoffs. So the Irish are going to make the playoffs. Whereas the flip side, if BYU would have won, it would have looked like James Madison would have got into the playoffs. But Texas Tech is winning 34-7 right now. So
I'll have a recap of conference championship weekend for you guys tomorrow morning. Run down the NFL schedule for Sunday and Monday night. and have all the news and milestones and records and stuff that we keep an eye on. And then me and John off air will discuss whether we'll be live tomorrow afternoon for Selection Sunday or not. That's from 12 to 3. So that's basically once I go off air, we'd be going back on air for Selection Sunday. So we'll discuss that on our own time, and keep an eye out over on the Huddle Up Podcast social medias, over on X, or just come out and check out the show tomorrow morning, and I'll have the announcement for you whether we'll be live for Selection Sunday or not. If not, then we will have everything for you guys on Tuesday night. Come back tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you guys then. Deuces.